If you follow Devil May Cry at all, you've probably heard about a recent collaboration with a mobile game called Punishing Gray Raven. PGR mixes flashy animations with satisfying action combat, so at a glance, it looks like the perfect fit to collab with something like DMC. In this crossover campaign, they've added both Dante and Vergil as playable characters, created an entire story event featuring the Sons of Sparda, and a whole host of boss fights and challenges for the twins to tackle. As someone who knows nothing about the story of PGR, I decided to jump in and sink my teeth into this collaboration. In this video, we're gonna cover how Dante and Vergil play, the event story, and my experience with tackling some of the challenges that were offered up. Welcome to... The first thing I want to address is that this collaboration is a timed event featured in a mobile gacha game. So it's free to play, but of course, all gacha games have an inherent predatory FOMO, or fear of missing out, factor. If you're watching this video after the collab has ended, I urge you to try not to feel like you've missed out on anything. You will always have the actual DMC games to play, and I'm gonna do my best to touch on the major story points of the event, so there's no need to feel like you've missed out on the lore or the Dante and Vergil interactions either. Upon logging into the game, I saw the event. Layman Toady Fanta Asthma. I don't speak Spanish, Nihongo wakarimasen, as they say in Spain. So if anyone knows what this actually translates to, feel free to leave that in the comments. Naturally, the first thing I did was hunt down the Vergil boss fight, and of course I had to play as Dante to get the authentic experience. They tried recommending I play Dante's tutorial first, but I've played the character in a completely different game, so obviously I knew literally everything about him in this game already. We went in raw, no rubber, and I got absolutely wrecked. So I did the next logical thing and immediately fought an even harder version of the boss. After gathering my bearings and getting a little comfortable with Dante, I actually jumped into his tutorial to see how he worked. Dante's kit is certainly a far cry from the 100 plus moves he has in DMC5, but he's got a decent amount of the core essentials. A lot of the attacks are extremely generous with their hitboxes, and they always have summon swords accompanying them, which makes the awkwardness of playing Dante on a touchscreen a bit less of an issue. He can also enter SDT, and as far as I could tell, you can just choose to stay transformed indefinitely. He has some meter to burn on moves like Demolition, the Loose, and Sin Stinger, but fireballs and basic melee swings are free. Just messing around, I found some interesting tech they added. In DMC1, there's a powerful technique called shotgun twitching, where you can cancel the recovery animation of the shotgun in order to shoot faster. And as it would turn out, Dante has that in PGR too. This is what normal shooting looks like, and here it is with shotgun twitching. Pretty cool, huh? In contrast to Dante's neutered kit, Vergil feels like he's got everything. They gave him the pause combos, perfect judgment cuts and their associated timing-based mechanic, SDT and Doppelganger, and his extended combos when transformed. He feels just as overpowered as he does in DMC5, and it feels like there's a little something for everyone to enjoy with him. After testing out both characters, I figured it was time to jump into the story and see how the brothers ended up in this strange new world. But first, I played this legally distinct maze game where you control a head that has to eat a bunch of pellets. The story starts out with this fella that looks like Kratos with hair giving some vague monologue that you're not supposed to understand till later, but he does mention one thing that caught my eye: the hetero tower. I didn't realize we were confining heteros to a tower in this universe, but hey, more power to you. In common Neptune fashion, Dante appears falling from the sky, and Vergil is shown standing in some courtyard, which immediately draws a neat contrast between Dante's action-oriented go-go-go attitude and Vergil's calm and peaceful demeanor. Smash cut to PGR's main characters being ambushed and Dante showing up to fend off the hetero creatures. The man in the red immediately makes it very clear that he's an ally, but Vergil's alignment is left up in the air as the crew finds a recording of a man in a blue coat slicing up an innocent soldier. Following that revelation, Alpha and the Omega clash before clearing up the confusion. Whatever demon is at the head of the chaos has taken Vergil's appearance. With the two Sons of Sparda now on the same side, we finally get what we've been waiting for, some brotherly interaction. As an aside, this story is supposed to be taking place during the period Dante and Vergil are stuck in hell after the end of DMC5. So here we get to see some neat dialogue similar to the brief exchanges we get at the end of that game. There was one playful moment that stood out to me where Dante flipped off Vergil. I was taking notes as I played, and for this part I literally wrote in all caps, "Not my Dante." To articulate upon this point, I think it felt a little out of place, but it was still kind of a fun moment. Along the way, we also found a little girl named Laika. Laika and subscribe. This dude named Max shows up briefly, but you can't fool me. That is Arius from DMC2. Sometime later, we managed to find the Hetero Tower's location and started our assault. You can see in the recording that I took a screenshot because I got all giddy when Dante mentioned Pandora. DMC4 is probably my favorite game in the series, so that little bit right there really made me smile. We get some super cool art as the brothers, poised to compete with each other, cut loose against the onslaught of hetero creatures coming their way. Once we made it inside the tower, I admired this background for a bit. It felt reminiscent of the architecture of Temenigru, with the interior Gothic design evoking the feeling of DMC1's castle. There was an exploration mission to explore the tower, and it tried to pose some sort of puzzle to find the correct door leading to the next floor, but every door had a red symbol above it except for one, and that one was the right way both times. I don't really understand that, but whatever. Making our way to the top, we found all the heteros that were locked in the tower and had some of the party escort them to safety while Dante and Vergil marched towards the precipice. The story culminates with a fight against the mirror demon taking Vergil's appearance. They basically managed to recreate DMC5's Vergil boss fight to a T, which was really fun to see and play. After dispatching the demon, this really cool cutscene plays where the Sons of Sparda plus Alpha go to town on the Faker. Towards the end of it, Vergil uses Judgment Cut and Alpha charges up her big super move, and all the while I was thinking, okay, what's Dante gonna do? Is it gonna be Judgment, or I don't know, this is gonna be so cool. But at the end, it just pans out to Dante as he does this stupid little number while his hat looks like it's barely sitting on his head. I don't know if it was the execution or just the absurdity of it all, but this really took the wind out of my sails in what was otherwise a genuinely badass moment. Naturally, the demon refused to die and revealed his true form, which ended up being a much quicker and easier fight than its Vergil iteration. Laika and subscribe sensed that all you guys liked and subscribed, so her job was done and she made the noble sacrifice to weaken the demon. We get to see the party shout jackpot as the demon gets sent back to hell, and all that's left to settle is how the brothers get home. But while the scientists researched that, Dante and Vergil decided to cut loose in the training facility equipped with a built-in music player. Dante cycled through a few tracks before Devil Trigger started playing, and he remarked, "Nero would really dig this song." And that has got to be my favorite joke of the entire collab. There was also a scene of Dante and Vergil eating at a cafe where Little D tells Big V he's gotta try a strawberry sundae sometime. And for getting Vergil to taunt you in the sparring match, you unlock a special scene in reference to that cafe. Vergil visits the place alone, and seeing his mild curiosity in the sundae, the waitress brings him one on the house. After trying it, Vergil remarks that it's too sweet, and that's that. The brothers use the scientifically amplified power of the Yamato to return to their homeworld, and the curtains close on Lamento di Fantasma. Overall, I really enjoyed the story despite having no context for half of the concepts used in this game's world. I mainly talked about Dante and Vergil's involvement in the story, but generally they weren't actually front and center for it. They had their moments to shine, and they certainly played a crucial part, but a lot of the story actually focused on other characters like Dr. Hell and Laika, which I personally really enjoyed. Most games that do collaborations make the associated story as fan-servicey as possible, with the featured characters constantly being front and center and having everything about the plot revolve exclusively around them. That wasn't the case here at all, and it was quite refreshing. But just because I was done with the story doesn't mean I was done with the event. It's time to pivot and talk about the various additional challenges that were offered outside of the story. One of the main challenges is fighting an increasingly stronger Vergil in some space arena that looks straight out of the end of Armored Core 6. Once again, the boss is basically a one-to-one replica of DMC5's final fight, or at least pretty near to it. One thing I will say though is playing any character other than Dante or Vergil in this fight felt a little like cheating. The fight was clearly designed around the collab characters, and when using some other characters that I had, I was basically getting parries constantly and juggling Vergil without even trying. One of the other main event challenges were these character trials for the twins. You'd use a trial version of either Dante or Vergil and take part in various battles against bosses that I think are already in the game elsewhere. You basically have 15 minutes to take them down, and Vergil's fights went alright for me, but there was this one guy with Dante who just felt like a total slog. There was also an additional sub-goal of beating these fights within 180 seconds, and honestly, I have no idea how I would ever go about doing that. That's about everything I got the chance to experience, and overall it was definitely a fun time once I got used to the controls of the game. You can make some pretty cool combos with the brothers, added on to the fact that you can just whip them out while playing any other content in the game, which is a really fun thing to see as well. I had a super positive time with the story, and the pacing of it felt just right. The challenges certainly offered more for those willing to spend more time with it, and I think the event had a little bit of something for everyone. You could sweat it out in the intense boss fights, or just chill out by playing a little handheld minigame. If you guys got a chance to hop in and play this event yourself, let me know what you thought in the comments. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Sayonara.